we'll also take some questions. It's always interesting you forget to touch the actually record button. So I just did that. So maybe I could just go back again and say, good morning, everybody. Thanks for jumping in on the Power Hour. And the name is Ricardo Barris for those who are just joining. I'm the chairman for the Global Opportunities Committee of the Atlanta Black Chamber. Welcome. The reason we play that video every time is Black history is not a moment, it's a movement. And so it doesn't matter where you are, it doesn't matter what time it is, or history still certainly matters, and we want to make sure the world understands that. Today on our Power Hour, we're going to be recapping our trip to we're going to recap our trip to the UK. I mean, we went out to the United Kingdom in London specifically a few weeks ago, and we had such an amazing time, and it just could not have happened. I mean, London is nothing without its people. So so everywhere else, there's nothing without its people, and so as you can imagine, we had some amazing conversation. We met some amazing folks, and I see a number of them on the call, and I want to celebrate them, and I want to also recognize them. Big shout out to Elsa. I see Elsa Caleb on the call as well. Elsa is a part of the West London Chamber, and I saw she brought a few of her members from the West London Chamber to connect and network with you. Folks, we mean business here. This is serious business. If you want to connect into the London ecosystem, Londoners want to connect with you as well. And so be open-minded. Make sure you establish those connections and build those relationships. You can be a part of the Atlanta Black Chamber. You don't need to be in Atlanta to be a part of the chamber. Make sure you get the access to our international membership and become a member. This is how you get plugged in. This is how you get connected, and this is how you seize those opportunities. So, without further ado, I do have two of my special people here. They're like family now. Claudine Reed and Leonard Fum, and I want to start with some introduction. Thank you guys for your time for jumping in today. Maybe we can start with the good lady first, Claudine. Why don't you unmute and tell us who you are, tell us what you do. I think a lot of people don't even realize how we even got connected. So if you can kind of break it down for all of us, we'd love to know.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ricardo, for creating such a fantastic opportunity. I just put a message in the chat to say I'm really glad that technology has allowed us to facilitate these powerful conversations across different time zones. So good morning, good afternoon, good night, depending on where you are. My name is Claudine Reed, and if I tell you how I met Ricardo and just kind of let me see if I can tell the story in this particular way. I I was invited to attend the Global Opportunities Dinner hosted in Birmingham in the United Kingdom. I got the invitation because of the work that I do with the Department of Business and Trade and the government. I act as a consultant for those government organizations. In that room, the Global Opportunities Dinner, in that room, I met a number of candidates from the US. They were from the Small Business Administration Council. They were talking about international trade. And for those of you who are bold entrepreneurs, sometimes you just invite yourself to spaces. So I was speaking to her and I said, look, I know that you've got an event at the ambassador's house. I'm not a US citizen, but I'd like to come. And she said, yeah, sure. I was like, oh, okay, great. So I went off and met the ambassador and some other dignitaries. And it just kind of gave me a flavor for the types of global opportunities that I want to be a part of. And because I chair the advisory committee for Lloyds Banking Group, it felt like Lloyds Banking Group is one of the largest banking institutions in the UK. They bank about 1/5 of the economy. And because that's where my trajectory lies, I thought it would just be a great opportunity to be in that space. I was then invited to speak at an online event that ABC, Atlanta Black Chamber, was hosting. And I think that's where I first met Ricardo. And it feels like we are long lost cousins and we speak and we have some really great conversations. more importantly, I love Ricardo's vision for ABC and for the Black community and for GOC of creating over 100 billion transactions over the next 10 years between the global majority. And I think that's really important. And that's part of the reason why we are here. And so by reason of what I do, everything that I'm doing in my space all converges to this point. So for the past 3 decades, I've invested my time in creating opportunities to amplify and generate community and generational wealth. I've done that by creating over 10,000 jobs. So, myself and my husband, we started a business in the health and social care space, creating job opportunities for other people because we are here because we are entrepreneurs, but we also recognize that it takes a system that works without us in order to create that lasting legacy. So we spent our time creating job opportunities for other people so they could run our business. And then we also supported probably just over 20,000 entrepreneurs. I now invest my time in supporting corporations to fulfill their ESG commitments, so their environmental, social, and governance commitments, by connecting underserved communities to mainstream organisations. In the UK, they would refer to the Black community as underserved because most programs of support don't specifically target Black entrepreneurs, but we'll get to that in a moment. So I do that. I support those corporations in a number of ways. I chair the advisory committee for one of our major banks and support them to create products and propositions for the Black community and to also help them understand some of the challenges that we as a community experience as it relates to accessing finance, as it relates to growing our businesses. I'm also the European regional lead for the Atlanta Black Chamber, and I really love that role because it gives me the opportunity to speak to people like Michelle and Cece from Germany, gives me the opportunity to connect the dots in France and in Holland. And over the next couple of weeks, we had conversation in Germany yesterday. I'll be speaking to Holland and France. I also mentor female founders, female business owners who are over 40 years old and support them with their life strategy and business development. Because what we recognize is it's one thing to develop and focus on building out your business, but we also don't want to do that at the risk of our families. I am happily married to Patrick for 29 years. I have to say 29 years because yesterday I was speaking to somebody and she said, "Were you born after 2005?" Like, no, way before, way before. Um, and I live in between London, England, and Ocho Jamaica. So that's a little bit about me. I'll hand back over to Ricardo and then we'll get into the rest of our conversation.
Oh wow, thank you, Claudine. I mean, it's such a rich history, and it's just all the things that you've been involving. We applaud you and celebrate you, and folks, you really have to get to know Claudine the way that we've gotten to know each other. She really is a symbol to this earth, and what she's doing for women, what she's doing for young people. Super excited about the future. It's just so bright with people like Claudine in it. Leonard, I want to go to you and I want to have you introduce yourself. Claudine already said we're cousins, so I'm not sure what you're gonna say, but over to you, Leah.
I'm going to say unks, but I'm not going to say that because, but no, let me, maybe I'll tell a story in terms of how we both met as well, Ricardo. So a bit like Claudine. So my name's Leonard Fong, and I'm based in the UK, but actually I met Ricardo over in the US last year. And it was actually, I'm an entrepreneur. And as I was out there at a conference, someone suggested that I think, is it Charmaine? Charmaine's on call, but yeah, Charmaine suggested maybe reaching out to a gentleman called Ricardo. And so I took the brave move to sort of move out of the conference that I was in to meet Ricardo in a hotel. And as Ricardo was sharing his vision about sort of the GOC and everything that he was doing, it really resonated with me in terms of where I'm going and my vision for life as well, around the prosperity of Black people, and also sort of the whole opportunity to sort of generate this 100 billion goal. I love those, great, aspirational goals that I thought, actually, I want to be a part of this. So Ricardo actually invited me back to the GOC conference in October last year. And I went along and I had a wonderful time there. So much so that I actually took the bold move and said, Ricardo, how can I actually get involved? And so he invited me to sort of join and be part of the GOC as a regional lead. But in terms of sort of where I'm at with regards to who I am and what I do, I live in the UK. I run multiple businesses, so I'm a serial entrepreneur. I have a business called FinOps Squad, which is basically a finance strategy and operations business that supports SMEs to sustain themselves, grow, and grow sustainably, looking at cash flows, looking at investments, looking at opportunities, to sort of build and scale up. Alongside that, I have a strategy advisory business that actually has a global lens, that looks into connecting and joining the dots globally, across different regions. So I'm from Nigeria, so Nigerian background, and I have connections also in Dubai and like that. So basically, my role within sort of my other business called Tech Services fits quite well into what is happening within the GOC and the vision in terms of having regional leads across the globe. Um, in terms of sort of what I also do, I'm also very passionate about supporting young Black men. So I'm actually involved in various communities across the UK. So I coach and mentor a number of individuals. I'm part of a group of about 250 young men, some of them who have come out of prison, and are looking for opportunities to sort of repurpose their lives into the society for the greater good. So I live by purpose. I live to sort of give that back to others. So I do that alongside running my business. I mentor, I coach, I do workshops. And around all of that, I'm also a family man. So I'm a family man. I have a number of children, happily married for over 23 years. Not quite like Claudine yet. But yes, on that road. So happily married and have a number of children who I support.
Awesome,
And
fantastic.
I'm also the UK regional lead, so that's the last thing in there.
Yeah, no, fantastic. Thank you, Leonardo. We're going to talk a little later about some of the things that you've actually caused to happen within the community, and so we're really proud of you. I want to just go off script here real quick and call Elsa because I know Elsa is on the call. I know she didn't expect me to call on her probably, but I'd like for her to just say hello to you and introduce because Elsa, you are one of the only Black person on the board of the West London Chamber, or probably the only person that is from the African community, if you may. Would you mind just saying hello, tell us who you are, and just quickly, if you may, how you got to where you are?
Okay, good afternoon, everyone, and thanks very much for the opportunity. Thanks also to Claudine, Ricardo, and Leonard for, as I say, making me a part of what you're doing at the moment. My background, and Claudine would remember, is that of government, sitting on the Small Business Council at the time, working with small businesses and advising Secretary of States of Trade and Industry. And that's how we connected. And, I say a relationship started from there. I'm a business strategist, so I run my own business, have done for over 27 years now. And having sat on different panels and chaired institutes, there just seemed to be an opening in the West London area, of which I was an advisor to the Chamber first and foremost for a year. And then after that year, I was asked to come on to the actual board. And what's interesting for those that are actually based in the West I say west part of London, you'll find that although there's quite a lot of us and it's quite a diverse area, there's not many that are actually members of the chamber. So when I was asked, the only thing that got me motivated was the fact that my role on that board is to bring those Black businesses together. And I'll do it very quietly, very subtly, and just one by one get to know everyone. And then I know at some point there'll be a major opportunity for me to really, open the doors. So it all started with Black History Month in October. I was asked to just sort something out, you know how you do. And I did, and I managed to get 2 major speakers, and they were so impressed that they asked me to do it again in February. I did it again, and that blew them away. Now they've asked me to do it in May/June of this year. But in between that, I'd actually connected with Claudine's event that she had in September, just before the October delegation to Atlanta, where I'd actually connected also with Ricardo and on LinkedIn. And then I just got a text a week before he was due to come to the UK and asked whether or not I could do something. And I said, leave it with me. Spoke to our chief exec because, of course, I don't do things on my own. I have to have a team. So I spoke to the chief exec. He said yes. Bearing in mind that his background is from the Department of Trade and Industry back in the day. So he's also developing other opportunities for small businesses abroad. So as soon as he said yes, I said, that's the only green light that I need. And I rallied around quite a number of businesses, which was interesting because they're not members of the chamber. But when we just thought, look, just come enjoy, and they shared such great opportunities, both Ricardo and Leonard. And, we just thank you for actually spending the time with us, because I know that you had a very busy day. You're coming from the House of Lords. So, we just treasured your time that you actually shared with us. And I'm really looking forward as we continue to move forward, because we in West London now want to work together with you. And I know there's more businesses, though those that missed it are like, oh no, we missed something great. So trust me, we've got more businesses coming forward. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you, Elsa. And we're one of the things that we do within the Power Hour, we spotlight our members. So if you are a member of GOC, and you're actually on the call and you'd like to be spotlighted, message me, because we'd love to kind of bring you up on the podium for you to actually share a little bit about what you do. Because this is really how we get to opportunity, right? We have to be able to speak to what it is that we're doing. And within the things that we do, within the value that we are adding to the marketplace, there are always these opportunities that someone else can identify and say, I need to connect with this person. I need to be able to see how we can work together. And that's how we're going to get to this 100 billion in global transaction, right? We've got to be able to do more than connecting. We've got to build relationships, and then within those relationships, as we talk about how can we help each other, we can then identify opportunities that we can transact from. So please be on those on the lookout for those specific things. I'm going to go back to you, Claudine, and let's talk about UK. Let's talk about the visits. Let's talk about the recap, if you may, your impression on the trip and how it all went.
Thanks, Ricardo. So I'm going to try and summarize 3 amazing days in less than 5 minutes. I'm not sure if I can do it justice, but Leonard, whatever I miss out, hopefully you'll be able to pick up. So first of all, the connection with the Atlanta Black Chamber and the Global Opportunities Committee creates a number of potential opportunities, and that's the reason why we're here, because we want to leverage those opportunities. If I could give you just a brief kind of high-level overview of what entrepreneurship in the UK looks like. According to the Centre for Research of Ethnic Minority Entrepreneurship, hosted by Professor Mondoram, he says that Black entrepreneurs contribute 25 billion pounds to the economy. Where I sit with Lloyds Banking Group, we are looking to increase that contribution to 100 billion. And one of the ways that we can do this is through joint ventures and partnership and collaboration opportunities. That's one of the reasons why this is important. So over the 3 days when Ricardo came to the UK, one of the first stops that we went to was an organization called the Open University. And the Open University, along with other colleagues, Alex Cole and myself, we have created a MBA program. The MBA program supports entrepreneurs like you to credentialize your learning and to credentialize your entrepreneurial experience. Because what we're finding is as we travel the globe, different people who you speak to will ask you different types of questions. And those questions are more, oh, so what's your academic qualifications? What do you do? Are you Dr. such and such? Do you have letters before or after your name? And most of the time, the response is no. So as entrepreneurs, myself and Alex decided, look, we have earned this right because we've been doing the work. How about we credentialize this? So to all of the entrepreneurs on the line, if you're able to get an academic qualification as well as being able to demonstrate the fact that you are an entrepreneur. So we sat with the Open University and showed Ricardo what that roadmap looked like, how entrepreneurs in Atlanta could access and leverage this opportunity. It was a really exciting conversation because we saw this was the first time Alex and I had the opportunity to see this come to life in a very different way in terms of connecting with ABC and connecting with wider entrepreneurs. So that was the first stop. The reason why this was important, the other thing to add, is because in my role as European lead, we also have the opportunity to take this particular piece to Germany, France, and Holland. So Ricardo's visit wasn't then only about the UK. It kind of opened up other opportunities for a wider geographical region. What was really noteworthy is that we also have the political support of Lord Michael Hastings, which I'm really sure Leonard will delve a little bit more into that because of his relationship with him. But having Lord Michael Hastings championing and being involved in this conversation and even being able to open doors, right? I'm sure you all know it's always good to have somebody who wears a political hat, who has the respect of their peers in your sphere. He opened up an opportunity for us to visit the Lord Mayor of London, who incidentally, if the King of England wants to go into the city, has to ask permission, has to ask permission from the Lord Mayor. And lo and behold, myself, Leonard, Ricardo, and a group of others are sitting around the table with Alistair King, the Lord Mayor of London. We're like, yeah, I feel kind of good about this. If King Charles has to ask permission and we're actually sitting down for more than that time, that was a really great experience. But it was also very interesting to hear about the opportunities that he wants to leverage. So he's only in post for 1 year. And that's the other thing about building relationships, right? So you will already be aware that the currency of business is relationships. He will be in post for 365 days. And he left the door wide open for us to say, when I'm no longer in post, come and see me because I will be responsible for these. He listed out some of these areas of responsibility and left a door open for connectivity. The reason that door for the connectivity is important is because in the UK, there is a massive focus on supporting Black entrepreneurs. Back to the point that I made earlier on, we currently contribute 25 billion to the economy. Every bank, every captain of industry, every institution wants to push that number up to 1 billion because it's a win-win. If the Black community is able to generate 100 billion within the UK within the economy, then there are other beneficiaries, there are other factors and other people who will leverage those opportunities. I'm going to leave it there and I'm going to hand back over to Ricardo and Leonard. Whatever I've missed out, just patch that up for me.
No, thank you, Claudine. I think that was a good sort of a part of that recap, and we did. There are 6 activities that we actually did over the period, and you touched on 2, which is very, very interesting. And so, folks, you have to get ready for this business MBA and stay tuned to hear more about it, because I think this is one of the one of the most interesting thing that I've actually heard, even just on my way to throughout Europe and in UK, I've never actually heard of that idea of credentializing your as a business, right? So you've got a business MBA. So I think that's a great and will be a game changer for entrepreneurs who've been working at this for forever, right? So that's very important. And obviously, one of the things that you know, you recognize when you've got the permission for the same guy who has to grant permission to the king to come hang out, that's significant, right? And it shows the power of connection, but it also the power of relationship. So Leonard, if you can touch on just your impression and maybe help us to understand some of the other things that took place during this experience.
Yeah, so I'll go back a little bit to Monday. So as Claudine said, so we visited the Open University with Ricardo, Claudine, as well as Alex Cole to talk about the MBA. But after that, we actually did a little bit more of an unwind in the afternoon for Ricardo just to experience the City of London. So Ricardo got a little bit of trains, planes, and automobiles, but he got boats, trains, and automobiles. So we managed to sort of give him a real good experience of taking him through the City of London. So we went into Waterloo, and then we got the boat actually, which is kind of rare. Not a lot of us get the boat on the River Thames, but we took him along the river, and I think we had sort of a great experience there. We actually met up with Charmaine, who's actually on the call. So Charmaine was with us as well, and she's a member of the GOC. But yeah, we had a great experience, sort of just touching different sites across the city, just to give that edge to sort of how diverse the City of London is. It's a great city to be in. And I hope, Ricardo, you felt that. But in the evening, we actually stumbled across, or did so we went to a restaurant, a beautiful restaurant called So Mama. And Soul Mama is a unique restaurant. It's a black-owned jazz restaurant that puts on events for local performers. And so we met the founder. He actually sort of just talks about his journey and his real interest to come to Atlanta. So there's definitely something there opening up and bottling up with that relationship. And again, it comes down to these relationships, these partnerships. And it was great having Ricardo with us sort of on that Monday, just to sort of see some of the sort of business potential in the UK and where that might lead to. And then on Tuesday, like Claudine said, we went and saw the Lord Mayor. I wanted to add something about him. So he also said that I think he's one of the third or fourth most powerful person on paper in the whole of the UK. So presidents actually come and visit him because he actually influences the whole control of money, the money flow throughout the City of London. So actually, maybe your current president might be come and see him at some point. But just to give you the clout of who he is, you know, he's a very significant individual. So on that Tuesday, we then went on to the House of Lords. And courtesy of my good relationship with Lord Hastings, he kindly hosted us for a lunch in which we had a round table. It was a fantastic time for us to sort of just build on the relationships, open up doors, communicate sort of about all the different things that we want to try and achieve. And he wants to champion basically the cause in terms of what's happening in the GOC. So that was fantastic. And then later on in the afternoon, we went off to the West London Chambers to see Elsa and a number of businesses out in West London. We had a fantastic time. Elsa, thank you for being a great host. And also everyone on the call that we met, it was really a great time meeting up with yourselves and building up that relationship there as well with the opportunity of a potential partnership that might be is crystallizing. So there might be an MOU. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say that, Ricardo, but there's something that is actually formalizing between the two chambers, which was really, really positive in terms of just in that initial meeting. But I'm going to leave it there. I can continue for the other days, Ricardo. I don't know if you want me to continue.
Yeah, well, let's come back. Let's come back to that. I think this was good. We're going to talk about some of the other things that we do, but I do want to sort of zoom out from this piece and recognize one of our member. This is something important for us as we spotlight members. It's one of the benefits you get when you become a member of GOC. You get the stage as well. And I want to call on Renee. Renee Pullen. Is Renee still on the call? Renee, are you here? So Renee is one of our members, and she's got a little bit to say about who she is and her business. Renee, welcome. Please go ahead.
First of all, thank you so much, Ricardo. So glad to be here in this space with the GOC committee. My name is Renee Pelham. I am CEO and founder of Higher Education Accreditation Consulting. Ooh, I know that's a mouthful, but basically what I do is three things. After spending 25 years in the U.S. Department of Education accreditation space, I started my own consultancy firm to do the thing that I'd been doing before, and that's help schools through the accreditation process. My own specialty is higher education, but because of connections and staff that I work with, I also work through the K-12 space as well. So we really do, again, just three things primarily. First of all, we help schools get accreditation, which in itself is a feat. Of course, I know that many of you are aware it's not easy to go through any certification process, and this is certainly no exception. Getting it is hard, but keeping it is the real deal. You know, that's the process is after schools have gained it, it's maintaining it. So my clientele are those schools, and I'm helping to get it, helping them to keep it, helping them through interim processes of accreditation related kinds of taskings. And the second thing we do is we really work toward helping visionary people to start schools. You know, as I was working to sort of give my spiel about accreditation, people were coming up to me and say, listen, Renee, that's all well and good, but I don't even have a school, but I always wanted to start one. So we added that particular part to our menu of services. We help individuals and groups start institutions. We take those same credentials, those same criteria that are necessary to create a school, and we use that foundation to help institutions build good schools. Those institutions that can pass the smell test, so to speak. And so that is the second thing we do. And finally, because sort of intrinsically in the process of helping schools through the accreditation process, I'm always working with leadership. We're always working with individuals to sort of help them not only learn how to master accreditation, but also how to just lead institutions. So leadership development, organizational management are also a part of the menu of services we provide. My own degree, my terminal degree is in education leadership. So I put in a little time in 25 years, fortunately, and also just being able to have I've gone to school and spent a lot of time talking about it and taking that theory and turning it into application. So that's what I do in the gist of things. And I really appreciate this opportunity to talk with you all.
Thank you, Renee.
Thank you.
Thank you, Renee. We hope that you'll get some folks reaching out to see how you guys can work together on the opportunity that you shared. Guys, there are some folks who are behind the scene in all of this, and I want to make sure that we give them a shout out as well. The British consulate that's actually based here in Atlanta. I wanna recognize them for the efforts that they've made behind the scene, and we've got some folks who really sort of help to make this possible as well. I know Jennifer Barbosa wanted to be on the trip and she wasn't able to make it, but she was also instrumental in helping some of the things actually happen. So just really kudos to those behind the scene guys who really contributed. I want to go back to you, Claudine, and talk a little bit about if you can share this, how important this is. You know, doing a virtual call is great, and it's kind of how we have to kind of start the connection, right? But when you actually touch down in person, shake hands, looking people in the eye, having lunch, or just kind of having those in-person connection, I want to talk about how important that is in building community, because sometimes I think we miss that and think everything doesn't have to be virtual, but when there's an opportunity to get in and get into a physical space and connect, I want you to sort of touch a little bit about that, and anything else that you want to share on the trip.
Thank you, Ricardo. I think I said this earlier on, that relationship is the currency of business. And being here on this call, I see lots of people putting their LinkedIn handles in the chat and keeping things moving. People do business with people who they know, like, and trust. And technology has allowed us to kind of cut out, or to take back time, if you like. And that time starts here. It starts here on this platform. It starts here with turning up to power hours. It starts here with turning up to the virtual meetings that GOC call. Because in those virtual meetings, what you're able to do is build know, like, and trust. And as you're building know, like, and trust, then when there is an event that says all roads lead to London, England, or all roads lead to Frankfurt, Germany, or all roads lead to Amsterdam, Holland, in Amsterdam in Holland, or all roads lead to Paris, France, you already know that the type of people who you're going to meet, you already built up some know, like, and trust. And that's why Ricardo is my cousin, right? Because we've already had conversations, we've already been speaking, we've already been building community. I'm sure that you have heard in some way, shape, or form that no man is an island, or show me your friends and I'll tell you who you are, or if you hang around with 5 broke people, you're going to be the... You've probably heard all of those types of sayings in different guises. The reason why this is important is because as we build community, many people say to me, I'm a mentor. I mentor female business leaders, and they'll say things like, I'm doing this. And doing things by yourself is great. Of course it is. You're going to need a vision in order to get started and to keep moving. But listen, one of the first things, and this is not a religious platform, but one of the first things that Jesus did when he came to the earth was to recruit 12 people to help him. Community is important. You cannot do this by yourself. If you want to build £1 million or $1 million business, you need people to operate your system. But before you can get to that place, you got to start building the community. The community starts here online. So we've been having conversations with Atlanta, Germany, France, Holland. We are building. As you build your community, what will come to the fore is that you'll see the skills, the talent, the ability, and the giftings of those people who are forming in your ecosystem. You can then start to decide, I need a CFO, I need a COO, I need a CTO, I need a CMO, whatever role in that C-suite that you need, that could potentially start with the people who you are speaking to. And so this community building is an integral part of business growth. It's an integral part of you systemizing, creating a system, structure, and strategy for your respective businesses. Many of you are here because you're interested in global opportunities and the opportunities that are here in the UK. That can only happen when you build local partnerships. Leonard and I were at the Business Leaders Summit last week, Friday. And let me just tell you, the entry point, the entry point for the Business Leaders Summit was £3 million. Not that you had to pay, that you just had to demonstrate that your business has a turnover of a minimum of £3 million. Every single one of those speakers, we heard from Will Hu, he is the chief exec of Deliveroo. We heard from Richard Harpin. He's writing a book that's called 9 Steps to a Billion. He is one of the UK's billionaires. And every single one of those key leaders spoke about the importance of community and the importance of having boots on the ground in the country that you want to go. Oh,
sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, he spoke about having community and boots on the ground, having people, having teams in the respective countries that you want to do business in. So to Ricardo's point about building community and why connection is important. Yes, you are the visionary. Yes, you have the initial idea. But if growth is part of your strategy, if growth is on your agenda, then it's important to make sure you have community so that you can assess the skills, the talent, the strategy that your business is able to leverage because of the people in those respective countries, so that next time there is a call out to do the next mission trip or fact-finding trip, we'll see more people from Atlanta to come and explore what those opportunities look like.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you, Claudine. And obviously, we've got people from all over the world on the call. And so I always want to stress it's not just about Atlanta and UK. I mean, today it is, but it is about the globe, right? It's about how do we interconnect with each other and how do we build together. And I promise you, it's almost guaranteed that if you do this well, you will actually see those results. Leonard, I want to go to you because you are the one who helped to power this newfound relationship that we now have with the You Owe Me. And if you were on the call the last time when we were in the UK, we did broadcast a special sort of conversation with You Owe Me. But that was one of the activities that we did. So I want you to talk a little bit about that real quick, and then I want Jason to just share what this community actually means for You Owe Me, and maybe just also a little bit about what You Owe Me actually does.
Yeah, so yeah, definitely, and just echo a bit what Claudine said. That's that African proverb that says, if you want to go fast, go alone, but if you want to go far, go together. And so effectively, that's the whole thing of this GOC. And I just want to echo the importance of collaboration. And sort of that's what we are seeing actually evidently through the Yomi connection with Jason. So it's a collaboration and partnership that was formed whilst Ricardo was here in the UK. I'm actually sitting beside Jason. I might actually walk over my laptop. We're in the same room. So, um, but yeah, just it makes sense to practically, I'm saying it's about collaborations and relationship. And so, yeah, Jason, maybe it's useful to speak about sort of Yum and what it does and the partnership that has been formed.
Yeah, I mean, before we jump into that, I think I'll give the members of the GOC, ABC GOC, just a background of who I am. So I'm Jason Halstead. I'm CEO and founder of Yom. Yom is an SMB. It's a platform for providing infrastructure, banking infrastructure for SMB, the SMB sector, so the commercial sector essentially. And we have essentially two themes to our business. We have a B2B offering, which is providing like digital products and infrastructure to community and regional banks, in particular in the US, and that's through our partnership with MasterCard. And then we also have a direct to consumer or a direct to SMB offering, which is available in the UK and in the US. And this is really centered around the relationship that we have with that we now have with ABC. And my background is as a financial technologist. I've been that for about 20 years. Originally, and this in the investment banking space. I've worked at various financial institutions like the likes of Merrill Lynch, 6 years, building out a lot of their books and record tech and client reporting out in Hong Kong. I worked at 4 years at Goldman Sachs with the repo traders. So this is like collateralized lending. So this is like the equivalent of a mortgage for a bank, essentially, a repo loan is. And I worked quite closely with their treasury department there, which is lending. Did 5 years out in Credit Suisse in Switzerland, working closely with their managed lending department, lending private clients' assets to hedge funds. And that really got me to, and I built their tripartite allocation process between Zurich Managed Lending, JPM, Boney, and also LCH, which is London Clearing House, processing about $2.8 billion worth of tripartite allocations. And then finished off my career at HSBC in London, where I helped design their initial margin processing about $6 billion worth of initial margin. But really, My drive and my focus, and I believe in what's called the three P's: passion, planning, passion, sorry, purpose, passion, planning, and execution. And for me, the GOC ABC represents all of those things in entirety. If we start with the purpose is to create general wealth for our people. And in my experience in banking, one of the things that I didn't see a lot of was actually people that look like us in our sector. So one of the things that I did is I started an organization called Code Untapped with my founder Ezechi, with another chap called Ezechi Britton, who's actually the second biggest shareholder in Yom. But this organization was a digital skills accelerator for underrepresented technologists, and it was all about educating and bringing up the next generation of underrepresented founders to this new industry, in fact, technology. And you can see now where technology is going with the likes of AI and how if you're not part of this space, then you're going to be excluded really from society. And so it's really important. And so whilst I was working for the banks and starting to sort of move more out of just making, just the working phase into more about understanding what my purpose, what my passion is, and what I wanted to do with the rest of my life. I came to the conclusion that we needed, as a community, we needed to have the same sort of financial infrastructure that is essentially there to run the world. We needed to have a stake in that. We needed to have our own part in that because financial infrastructure is there to support a community and help a community grow and build. And that's where the birth of Yom came from. It was all about supporting businesses in our community with effectively the tools that they needed to run their businesses more effectively and more efficiently. And then once you can do that, then you can actually provide capital into those businesses. And that really follows the models of what prime brokerage does in the investment banking space. Yeah, gives them access to the markets. Yeah, it gives them regulatory reporting so it can see what goes in their business, it can see what goes out of their business. And because it has that overall visibility, they can provide capital into those businesses. And so that's the premise of Yom as a B2C proposition. In a nutshell, we provide the capabilities in the app for businesses to accept payments, money in. And with our partnership with MasterCard, we're about to launch a card and account in the US. And this is the expense management. This is the money out piece. And when, as a system, you have the visibility of money in and money out, we understand how your business works, and now we can provide capital. So the partnership, I see the partnership with the Yom and ABC GOC is all about actually providing transparency in how we as a community run our businesses. Yeah. And hence we get that right, then we can start providing real capital, targeted capital into our businesses, because we know that if we support our businesses will support our communities. And so this partnership is all about making sure that GOC, ABC, and the other chambers as well, because this is not exclusive to ABC, but it's exclusive to GOC. But the other, but the other, that, but the other chambers as well. It's important that we have the ability to bring the GOC and the chambers into the financial ecosystem, the global financial ecosystem, and actually be part of the money flow and direct some of that money flow back into supporting our community and our businesses as well. And that's it.
Awesome. Thank you, thank you. And this is again, this is a power of collaboration. And if we did not actually start this movement, then we would not actually have been here. So just think about where we could be if we continue. I wanna jump into again. I want to recognize Soul Mama. I know that was one of the places that we visited, and that was a real experience. Soul Mama is like going into Atlanta and having some soul food, and then also have a band that plays live for you. And I think one of the founders, Soul Mama, is a saxophonist. And so whenever you're in London, if you're actually going to London, make sure you seek out Soul Mama. But that was an interesting and sort of an incredible experience to connect with Black business owner that's really creating something in the heart of the city. So that was also beautiful. And lastly, I want to mention Kevin, who is Hello Love. I think that was also a wonderful experience that we ended up with. And what Kevin is doing in the UK, and Kevin is also from Atlanta. So if you're ever in the UK, you need to go seek out Hello Love, and being able to host people like Canva and some big brand names right there at the Hello Love spot. I think that was just fantastic. So please seek out, Hello Love when you go out there, and tell him we send you, so that he knows that we're all connected. So guys, this is a power hour, and the hour does come, but the power continues. And I see you guys have been exercising the power in the chat and staying connected. This is what you have to do to build those relationships. I wanna go back to you, Claudine, and I want to sort of talk a little bit about, if you can quickly, maybe one opportunity that you think is available right now within the UK landscape that folks can think about and take advantage of. But then also, you touched on it earlier around the support for Black entrepreneurs. And so I'd like to also hear you speak a little bit about that. If you have any question, guys, please raise your hand. We might run slightly over time, but I do want to give you an opportunity to ask any of the guys that we talk to any questions that you would like, that you actually have on top of mind. So go ahead and raise your hand or throw your question in the chat, because we'd love to also take them before we wrap this. Claudine.
All right. So opportunities are all over the place, right? And we have to train our mind to see what other people miss with their eyes. So the first thing that is really important for you to understand is that you don't have to start from zero. You don't have to start from fresh. One of the reasons why the Power Hour is really important is because what we're doing, and I can see the LinkedIn chat going crazy, what you're doing is connecting up. You're finding people who have similar interests, where sparks can connect. So in the space of the US and in the space of the UK, there is an opportunity for joint ventures. There is opportunity for partnership. There is opportunity for collaboration. Of course, there's going to be some legalities around there. And I recognize there are other nations on the line, but given that this is UK focused, but the same is true for whichever geographical region you are in. There is space for opportunity. So for example, when I'm thinking about going to Atlanta to run my business, I'm not going to start from scratch. I'm looking for somebody who has already been running a business, who already coaches women, who already advises banks, who already can act as a fractional COO, and we join or collaborate forces. And now both of us have an international business. We create an SPV, a special purpose vehicle, that allows us to trade in our respective geographies. And how about this? I think it was Myron Golden who I heard say 10% of a watermelon is better than 100% of a grape, right? So if you are able to bring your idea into the UK, that is what one opportunity is. The opportunity is about reframing your legal structure of your business, so you still maintain the rights to your business in your geographical region, but when you want to go into another geographical region, you create a new legal entity that allows you to leverage what you have in Atlanta and create something new in the UK. So I just want to make sure that you are clear. This isn't necessarily about losing 100% shares of your business. It's about being smart with the way how we structure our businesses. That's number one. The other, in emerging industry, particularly in the UK. I know it's probably very well developed in the US. And the reason I know this to be true is because I had the opportunity to go to Louisiana in 2023. And I had the opportunity to go to NASA. Oh my goodness. It was absolutely incredible. They took all our phones away. We weren't allowed to take any pictures, had to go through security clearance, but I got the opportunity to see the creation of Artemis, right? The next rocket that the US wants to launch. But in the UK, the space industry is an emerging space, pardon the pun. It's an emerging area, emerging opportunity for business. And the UK wants to capture around the market is worth 18.9 billion, and the UK wants to capture around 10% of that. So in terms of the opportunity, it's everything. The opportunity is in education, health, finance, technology, wherever you are in that arena. The education piece is really important to me because I said this to my nephew the other day, that he is learning stuff, or he's going to have a job that I have no idea what he's going to be doing. And I think if we can think generationally, if we can step into new industries and into new arenas, especially as they are emerging, you all have experience and expertise. And I definitely think it's something that you'll be able to leverage. I have put my LinkedIn details in the chat. Please do connect with me and we can schedule a time to talk some more about this.
All right, fantastic. Thank you, Claudine. And I know there's no indication of any questions from anyone, so I'm going to go right to you, Leonard, and I want to ask you just quickly in a couple of seconds if you can sort of talk to one opportunity that probably exists with whether it's with you or just in UK in general that you are seeing that people can start to think about now and take advantage of.
Yeah, no, thanks, Ricardo. I really appreciate the opportunity to share. But I think there's loads, like Claudine said. I think there's quite a few. But one thing that I am seeing quite often in my space is this whole mission of buying businesses. So there's a real opportunity now, both in the US, also in the UK, where you've got a lot of owner-started businesses that have got a bit old in terms of their age, and they don't know how to pass that on to the next generation. So there is a real opportunity to actually get in and hopefully acquire a business within, the different spaces. So definitely in the UK, I am aware of quite a few businesses that are currently on the market and they need new operators. And so that is definitely something to definitely grasp and get onto if you can. In terms of how I potentially help there, that's what I do in terms of as a fractional CFO and finance team. I can help with that whole business readiness and that whole sort of finding the right result, right business for you that you might want to sort of look into, and also help with the whole end-to-end sort of finding the money to actually acquire the business. So that's something I wanted to just throw out there. I've left my details also in the chat, so do reach out to me on LinkedIn or either on my websites, and I can definitely help if you need to.
All right, awesome. Thank you guys. And the hour has come, but I do want to make sure that we get that one piece of advice from you. You guys have been successful in your own business. You've been successful in international opportunities and building network. We'd love to get one piece of advice, and I want to bring that one to you too, Elsa. So I've got 4 of you on the call, and I want just one piece of advice. If you can do that in 30 seconds, that would be helpful. But the next time you probably hear us talking about London, it's probably going to be with West London, right? Because we're working on seeing how we can collaborate both of those communities together. So we're super excited. We're super excited for that. And yes, I can speak to it. I can speak to the future and bring it into the present. And that is, we're going to be partnering a lot with West London, and we're looking forward to working assiduously together to connect both of the communities. So Elsa, maybe I'll start with you, and then I'll go quickly to Justin, then Leonard, and Claudine will wrap up in one piece of advice that you're giving to folks here. They're from all over the world. They're looking to connect. They're here for a reason. They want to grow. They want to build. They want to prosper. What do you say to them?
Well, one piece of advice is we're all from different parts of the world. And as it says, we can actually be one body. Yes. So although we're separated, we're still together. And something that Claudine said about the university and all of that, I would like, as part of West London Chamber, to continue to support all that you do. I'm not an island. I can't work by myself. I mean, in relation to West London Chamber, can't work by itself. But collectively in London, we can all work together. So yes, Claudine, we're behind you and all that you're doing, within London. So we've got businesses that would love to join with you as well. So, and those around the world, if you're in London, connect with Claudine, connect with Leonard and myself, and I'm sure we'll make you have a great experience. Thank you.
Fantastic. Leo, do you want to give your one piece?
Yeah, I'll just say one thing sort of as an entrepreneur, it sometimes it's uncomfortable. And to be fair, it's not something that can always, it's not a straight line always. But it's a bit like how I would say, a bit like going to the gym. In order to sort of get results, you need to sort of have a little bit of pain or uncomfort, but the results will show in the end. So actually, resilience and leaning into uncomfortable situations is actually a great thing. Because if you're considering maybe to sort of branch out to the UK, try it. If you want to sort of branch out to the US, try it. So I think sort of being comfortable, being uncomfortable, is something that I just thought I'll leave it there.
Fantastic, fantastic. Claudine, we get the final wraps with you.
I think my final piece would be get around people where your maximum is their minimum. That's it. Get around other people where your maximum is their minimum.
Fantastic. This is a powerful way to end the power hour, but the hour continue, guys. If you want a recap of this, follow us on YouTube. Please go to YouTube. The link is in the chat, and subscribe to that channel. Watch these and many other power hour that we've recorded and put out there. Stay connected. Join the community. Get plugged in. Recommend someone. I saw someone mention that they're in Spain and the Canary Islands, and just sort of that's Mola. We'll definitely be connecting with you in Spain as well. But please do that, because this is the power. This is exactly what we're exercising and we're building, and take advantage of it. So thank you, guys. I really appreciate you coming in. We will actually see you next week. Same time, same place. We're gonna have the entire London in October in Atlanta. So brace yourself, because I think all of London is gonna be here. And yes, we can actually fit all of London into Atlanta. So we'll certainly be preparing for that. We've got our conference coming up. There's so much that's actually going on that you can plug into. But so glad that you were here, able to spend an hour with us today. And thank you. Have a great day. Have a great afternoon. We'll see you next week, same time, same place.